in a period I wasn't as active.
Mm-hmm.
But so I mean, I always would check in, but that was Roland, Tom, and Seth, and I did not disagree just from what we've seen
Well, I just feel like
from that.
the story itself, like Dex Joy's ascension to the Fist, was more than just a one arc story, and that's what I think made it especially awesome. Was that this was a story that essentially at least 1 year long, if not longer. I feel like the whole path Dex took to that pay per view main event in that moment, I feel like was years in the making. So certainly kudos to everyone involved along the way, and certainly Marcus and Lindsay. Can't say enough good things, obviously, about Lindsay's run with the title. And maybe you know what? Maybe LT will make an appearance on the next Def Radio. You never know. You could always hear from her again on Def Radio. That's always possible. um, uh,
A little laugh.
what's that?
A little laugh at me.
Yeah, well, what are you gonna do? All right, so let's start with night two, and looking at it, you've got the tag team match starting off, but honestly a stat card. So I'm looking at it here: Scott Hunter, Sergeant Safety, Vasio, High Flyer with mask versus hair, which is one of my favorite stipulations in wrestling in general. And I actually, I'll get to this, but I actually felt like that literally could have gone either way and would have been phenomenal. Kuriyama, David Fox, Falls Count Anywhere, ADV, Mil Vueltas. I hope I'm saying that right, Meal. Connor Fuse, Flying Frenchie, Lucky Sevens, Bronson Box, and Gage Blackwood. Box and Blackwood are just a money tandem. I wish one of them was in here to talk about that. And then you had LT, obviously Dex. The show starting off with a promo for the Saturday Night Specials, but they get ballyhooed by the weighted grade, Bobby Horrigan and Roosevelt Owens, to start off the tag team match. Obviously, unified tag team titles. I love that. I don't. It's been a long time, I think, since a tag title match has started a pay per view for Def. What did you guys think of this feud, and what did you think about the match? Obviously, bit of a shocker ending, perhaps, with Brock Newblood's injury. I loved how that was written. I'll talk about that. We'll get there. But what did you guys think about this feud and the match in general? Feel free to chime in.
Well, I like how it kind of tied into night one, like I guess how the Reform Mass Violator one match ended, with like the emergence of like what the Honor Society, the Honor Club, or yeah, and plays right into these guys coming into this, and like yeah, definitely set the scene with the there's like a pre-match attack, wasn't there?
Yep. Yeah. They came out as in the mid ballyhoo, which is egregious, incredibly egregious.
Right. Yeah. You don't interrupt the bally.
No. But I agree with you. I was very happy to help play a part in telling in my own way with Joe, obviously, the weighted grade story. Heavy artillery, excuse me. Yes, heavy artillery. That I think that turn was fun. I think the reveal, obviously, of the stable is really cool. And yeah, I feel like even though they're not contenders, they're dangerous, and like that makes them cool. Any other thoughts on this title change? Obviously, you get Flex in the Box, folks.
Yeah.
I just want to add that I think Roosevelt Owens is one of the best badass names I've seen in E-Feds. What a great name. Like, that name is just a perfect name for that type of character.
Yeah.
So bad, and I didn't come up with it.
And that might have been Evan, too. I feel like Evan is low-key responsible for a lot of the a lot of the guys on the come-up. most of Brazen and a lot of the people who are like, Butcher Victorious, I think is an Evan creation. JJ Dixon, I'm pretty sure is an Evan creation. Roosevelt Owens, and I'm pretty sure maybe those guys are Seth, but I feel like that's Evan. So that is pretty cool. But yeah, Flex in the Box, new champs. This feels like, obviously, we're aware of it. It feels like SNS stepping away for a bit. Flex in the Box. This feels like an interesting transition time for the Defiance tag team division, and I'm really curious. I'm excited for Flex in the Box. I think that's awesome, and I'm really curious for where things go from here now that the D is back. Also, as a performer.
Yeah, because with I guess Gorman kind of stepping out and stuff, and like now we don't know kind of the
status of Cassidy.
One of the 25 people that are now on the IR list. It kind of looks like it's a good opportunity for like a Pat Cassidy solos run, and I'm kind of glad I'm stepping out in that time because like. Fucking Pat Cassidy doing a solo run is like kind of fire. I mean, I'm not gonna lie.
So you bring up an interesting point, Strauss. The 25 people leaving Defiance. There's like a train that left the station. But like, who steps up? So like, who? And again, this is related in a sense, but unrelated. But who are the characters? Like from your standpoint, Strasma, like as a guy who obviously knows Defiance in and out, who are the characters that you would want to see step up and sort of fill those spots?
I know Defiance kind of in and to the left, not so much in and out, but like Cassidy, obviously. Well, yeah, I mean, I thought we did good work. I guess don't want to jump ahead in the show, but like I think David Fox had a nice rub on the match that we put him through, and I think
is that a cat?
No, yeah, it was a cat.
Yeah.
Ned Reform just kind of stepped up in a big way again.
Yes.
We're giving. I guess Joe just stepped up in a big way where suddenly like. Where it seems like Victus is kind of deflated in power in a little bit way, this other group just suddenly expands. And
that's a good point. Right. A little bit of a shifting of the balance of power in Defiance, at least at the moment. I totally agree with you with David Fox. And again, we are 100% jumping ahead, but who gives a shit? I don't know what David Fox's plans are in the future. I don't know what Kevin has planned. Kevin is lurking, as usual, in this. But I don't know. I would love to see David Fox Frenchie because I think Frenchie was looking for a partner. David Fox was looking for a partner in Classifieds. I think I was scrolling through and I saw that recently. That's something I think that'd be fun, and I think it would benefit both of them in a way. And I think, yeah, I'd like to see that. So yes, we had the tag titles change hands. Yeah, feel free to chime in, anybody. Tag titles changing hands. A tag division in flux, but also still strong. You still have the Lucky Sevens. You've got Box and Blackwood. Very intrigued for where things go in the tag division, as always, in Defiance. Up next was Sergeant Safety and Scott Hunter. Scott Hunter making his debut, pay-per-view debut, I believe his match debut in Defiance. Maybe the most nonsensical performer. He's like Trump, but worse in a weird way. Like, it's interesting. It's kind of interesting. Like, he's like literally in his own world. Things sort of, they certainly make sense to him. There was a part of me, I mentioned this to Brunk the other day, there's a part of me that felt like Sergeant Safety might win this match, because why not? What did you guys think of, first of all, the match, and also Scott Hunter in Defiance in general? Brian, somebody chime in.
Okay, for a pay-per-view match, I gotta give it definitely had brevity.
100%. And it wasn't long. It didn't overstay its welcome, but it was perfect. I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. I
And
think
then
you
not that I
need
remember much or too much else, but there's definitely not pay-per-view debut, but definitely not in-ring debut because
Okay.
there was one other. It was against another Brazen. I forget who. Never mind. But yeah,
Okay.
there was one other match at least.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, again, it's like for me, it's like he could have lost that match and lost nothing. You know, I mean, because it's kind of like, you know, he's ridiculous, so it always works. But yeah, I enjoy that. Just the foolishness of it all. And what I love about wrestling is that there's a match for every kind of fan. On a really good show, there's a match for every kind of fan, and this certainly delivered on the comedy aspect. Oh my god, ridiculous. Yeah, I enjoyed that. Any other thoughts on Scott Hunter? I'm very intrigued to see where things go with him. I suppose I'm a little nervous.
Yeah, like that was a character that like I first kind of got introduced to in like classic wrestling, the erstwhile classic wrestling, and it's just like a never-ending mouth, basically. You know, I feel it's like it's definitely Brunk tapping into like just his natural kind of flow of shit talk that you would almost kind of see in Dan Ryan, but kind of like refreshed from a character who like I almost feel like his promo on like the first show I actually loved because there's just like these little inklings of just like he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about really, and it's completely obvious, you
Right.
know, and that's part of the joke is he doesn't realize how stupid he is sometimes.
Yeah.
But complete confidence in what he's saying.
Yes. It's the confidence that is the killer. Absolutely. Yeah. No, I'm stoked. I totally agree with you, Strauss, because I agree because it's absolutely just Bronk talking. Like now that I think about it, it is 100% his humor, and yeah, that's hysterical. All right. Yeah.
Scott Hunter definitely seems to be a character like perfect and tailor fit for role play. So it'd be interesting to see as he moves on, like how that works in Angle.
Right. True. But again, like you say that he'd be great in role play, but he doesn't need to win. Like he's one of those characters, even in a role play fed. It's like I don't need to win. You know what I mean? Because it's fun. It's fun to lose.
Just because like the whole kind of the basis of the character, like Straw said, is like that never-ending mouth. That's
Yes.
perfect for role play.
True.
So integrating that into Angle honestly should be easier because in Angle you don't have to write 16 pages of dialogue.
Right.
You can do a couple and get your point across. Which I mean, obviously, and already with the match link, that's what he did.
Right.
In this.
100%. Yeah. We just choose to write 16 pages instead of have to write 16 pages. So up next was 16 pages of genius. So Kerry Kuriyama, David Fox. I'll echo Strasma's comment. I thought this was great. I thought this match served David Fox for sure. Loved. There was a handful of aspects in here I really enjoyed. I loved the finish. I loved the moment of David Fox whispering, you know, "Don't call me kick pads," in Kuriyama's ear. I thought that was really cool. So I enjoyed this, and I'm stoked for where David Fox could go. Straws, talk about this feud. Obviously, maybe it wasn't exactly where you wanted it to go, but or was it? I mean,
No, this was a feud. Like the only thing I regret was like this was a match. Well, both matches that we did like were kind of like I wish I didn't procrastinate all the way until Tuesday to like or you know do the bulk of them or anything like that. But I mean, procedurally, like I kind of liked how this feud came together. It wasn't like the most outstanding or talked about feud, but like Rob and I both agreed that we wanted just like a straight wrestling Lance Storm feud here, you know, like not some disembodied camera in the background catches them bump into each other in the hallways, and it's like, oh, you spilled peanut butter on my new shoes, and I'm gonna make catty comments at you. It's like, oh yeah, well I'll make some. I'll give a clap back, and we'll just keep yelling at each other until we punch each other and interfere in each other's matches, and now we have to have a match, and it's just like make it something more about the competitive aspect of like I like how most people didn't even realize this feud had started when it started, which was their first match at the beginning of the arc, which was the Kickstarter of kind of like Kerry wins, he cuts a promo on Uncut of like, just gotta go out there and take care of the mid-tier talent, just kind of passes it off as whatever. David Fox takes kind of, exception to those comments and says like, I've been a veteran in this place for years, and I don't like being kind of treated as just mid-tier, and I'm going to push myself to be better, and it kind of has this escalation. We had the favorite Saints title match with Resin that I think was a pretty good, step towards like him getting some kind of like steam going into this. So it was kind of like the rematch to kind of see like, you doubted me the first time, or you kind of wrote me off on one match. So I came back to prove to you that was a fluke, I wanted a nice, simple, straight kind of wrestling story like that, doesn't have to have a bunch of like frills and flanges, I guess. And I thought we kind of succeeded in that.
For sure. Well, I was saying to somebody today, not every feud needs to be or should be necessarily just insane, like, yeah, you guys did like the straight ahead simple, which I think absolutely worked here. Any other thoughts? Yeah, please.
Not everything has to be the bloodline.
Not everything has to be the bloodline. Not everything has to be.
So my thought on the match, like I said in my beef, right? Like in terms of like if it was like we're actually watching this match, right? I don't know if this makes sense, right? It was a good solid match, right? And it served its purpose, but I think it was the best. Like it wouldn't be like anyone's like if it was a real thing, like nobody would be like, oh, that's the best match, right? But in terms of like an E-Fed match, in the spot it was in between the two guys and the levels they were at and what it was trying to accomplish, that was my match of the show, man. Like, it was perfectly done. It was like perfectly done, perfect like length of the match, perfect arc in the match and everything. I was just like, everything should be like that. Like every card should have a match like that, And it was like, it was really giving of you to like be able to tell, like giving of you to use Curry in that way, to like, to help establish a new character like David Fox, and to do it in a cool little match that, was like just a perfect amount of time for where we're at. It just jumped out at me as something like really cool to read, and good to see that you guys were able to do it like that.
Yeah, it was good. I agree. Like the placement was good because it actually comes right before the Falls Count Anywhere brutal ADV Mil Vueltas.
It'll be hilarious when Rob hears that
he's new.
That David new.
I know.
Well, that was one thing I was gonna say.
I know.
When not that, but like when Rob, I mean, Mushigahara was like made in Defiance long before I got here, and just through, I'm sure like everyone else, just life and whatnot, Rob was just kind of in and out and never like really regained that foothold that he once had. And that character just seemed so perfect. And then when he wanted to pivot and go to David Fox, I'm like, oh, it's a terrible idea. like Mushi is so perfect for Defiance, like a big giant one-word monster with an annoying mouthpiece. Like, it's perfect. But I get it. I mean, you can only do the same thing for so long before you want to, change it up.
And I'll tell you. I'll say also, trying to write for a character who doesn't communicate is a challenge, and doing it for as long as he did, and like illustrating a character by only saying one word, and obviously he did it. He used that one word in a way where he could do that. You know what I mean? But yeah, Mushi was awesome, and I hope I would love to see Mushi back. Mushi to me is like that. I've always been a Mushi guy, and that Mushi should have had a run at the top. Just saying.
There was some very like like when I first got on staff, like Mushi was earmarked for some things and just didn't pan out. But
Right.
all that being said, I mean to see Rob really dig in with David Fox and make something happen. I thought it was a bad idea. I'm wrong.
just another example of Brian completely fucking off base. Listen, one more for the good guys. Listen, man. Listen. That's me too, dude. I'm wrong every day. All right, so we had the Falls Count Anywhere match. This shit was wild. Minute has morphed into just. I feel like this match he was a wild man. I really love the Moro Keeling dynamic. Seth just does such a great job of making these two-dimensional characters believable and fun to watch and read. Everything just seems very natural. So I love any match where Seth plays with himself. I'll fucking eagerly eat that up. Play with yourself, Seth, please. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. That's gonna be a sound bite at some point.
Sure.
in a couple hours. But no, but I thought this was awesome. And yeah, I loved it. I don't know. Thoughts on this match as Mil Vueltas. This is his coming out party in a sense. I feel like this is really where, as a single, this is him asserting himself. So what do you guys think of what do you guys think of Minute's change in this match in general?
I think his new name is as hard to pronounce as his old name.
Yeah. Mil Vueltas. And I Googled it. I tried to Google like what it stood for. I think it was like a million something. Hold on, wait.
I think there was some talk. I think Seth told me. I forget.
English.
I mean, I like his idea of giving him like a real name. But you had to do one that was very hard to pronounce.
So when I Google Mil Vueltas, it says it translates to 1,000 laps. Is that like 1,000 lap dances? Like, what is that exactly?
My dude's very big in the strip clubs.
Can a lucha get a table dance? Can a lucha get a table dance?
According to Google Translate, it's 1,000 turns. So
Oh, okay. 1,000 turns. Okay, yeah. DuckDuckGo told me 1,000 laps. So 1,000 laps, 1,000 turns. Interesting. I'm wondering what Seth meant it to mean. Is that it? Oh, it's interesting. But yeah.
He's got that many characters. He just had to get the number in there.
Oh my god, it'd be so great. What is Spanish for characters? Because that'd be funny. That'd be funny if he named his character his character 1,000 characters. Oh my god. Oh man. So I enjoyed this. I was a little. I didn't want to see the Familia breakup. That hurt me a little bit, but I also love Dan Leo James. He's my favorite Seth character of the moment. But so far I'm enjoying the new Minute, the new 1,000 turns. Any other thoughts on this match or his coming out party or anything Seth related?
Well, as opposed to the match before, this is the bloodline angle of the Defiance right now.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yo, writing like these like Mil Vueltas, whatever it is, writing those matches are so hard. Like like having to describe like 15 flip, aside moonsaults and stuff like that. Man, more power to Seth for being able to kind of like to write a good thing like that. And it's also good because I think ADV was like. It's such like it was like last hour's challenger. And you can really see him as like kind of like I see kind of see him as like a good base, like a Razor Ramon kind of guy like that, and somebody who always in real life like the archetype always was like a good like Razor works so well with like 1, 2, 3 Kid, and
right.
You can kind of see like that being like a good kind of basis for like how it came off for Defiance with those two and everything.
That's a good
I
point.
think it yeah, I think it was happening. It's good to have, because a lot of times I think like I mean, you'll even see it in AEW or like real pro wrestling where like, you know, like it'll be like, all right, here's like two cruiserweight guys like going at it and everything, and they're both kind of new, and it's like you can't tell one from each other. You know, like, you know, it's just like a bunch of guys doing the same moves pretty much. And with this, you have a good conflict of the size. You know, they're both, you know, both established, but like one's getting reestablished. One guy's like a main event level guy, wasn't quite there, obviously, you know, to win the belt and everything. So I think that was like a good setup, not just between. I don't know. I think it was a good way for a good example of how to use kind of like a size difference in our characters to each other's advantage for something like that.
Oh, good point. Yeah, and it was able to kind of put over both of them. Yeah, so far I think the show is off to it's a banger, folks. This is a banger of a show. Next we have Connor Fuse and Flying Frenchie. I'm really curious on your thoughts on the build to this match, because this wasn't something I saw coming, and which I love. I love this feud. I mean, coming out of Malik and Frenchie, the last pay-per-view. If you had told me, "Hey, up next it's Connor and Frenchie," I would have been like, "Okay, sure, I'm in." But I wouldn't have expected it, which is great. So I'm curious. Anybody, feel free to chime in on your thoughts on how this came together. I think Kevin's lurking. He can feel free to chime in. Certainly, we always love to hear from the creators themselves. What'd you guys?
Sure.
Yeah. Oh, he's here. Yes, Kevin. How'd this come together? Welcome to Defiance, friend. Let's talk about it.
Well, thank you. So it came together because the Malik feud ended, and I was getting a couple things like, "Hey, are you sticking around? Are you sticking around?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm sticking around," but I hadn't done any of the prep work you have to do to stick around. Right? You're like. Just like this segment, right? Where I finished the thing with Connor, I'm like, "Hey, does anyone need someone?" I'm like, "Oh, I probably should have asked a month ago." Right? So I finished the thing with Malik, and I
welcome to Defiance. You're fine.
Yeah. so I reached out to Roland and said, "Hey, listen, I'm sticking around after this, at least for another pay-per-view cycle or two. How do I do the next thing?" And he's like, "Oh, I had something planned for the next arc, and it kind of didn't happen. Like, just he didn't get into it. I didn't ask, but apparently the thing he was planning to do just fell apart."
Mm-hmm.
So I'm open. I'm like, "Well, that's easy. All right, let's go do that."
Awesome.
So
how long is it? So Kevin, being back writing, have you been off for a long time? Have you not been involved in fantasy wrestling or eFeds for a while leading up to your appearance in Defiance? Or have you been active?
I have been involved in Classic for about a year.
Gotcha.
When Classic started, I came in with a new character there, and then I stopped when that closed. And then I came back to do the Frenchie thing because it's kind of fun hanging out with you guys, right? I mean, that's basically it. It's fun hanging out with you guys, and so far it's been, "Hey, I need Frenchie to say something here." All right, so anytime you see Frenchie in anything, it's essentially 10 minutes of work from me and several hours of work for someone else. Which is a great amount of like that. That's about the right ratio.
And you haven't even worked. And you haven't even really worked with Seth yet. Wait until you work with Seth. I mean, that's just you just laying back and just letting him go.
Yeah. You got our dialogue.
No, yeah, he's got your dialogue too, by the way.
Fine by me. But
he's already been voicing Frenchie on Def Radio for months. I hope you're cool with that. Oh my gosh. So this was fun. Anybody else want to chime in on this feud or Frenchie in Defiance? Your thoughts?
I really like the match in terms of like how it started with this almost kind of like almost playful kind of trading of moves, and they're just kind of dodging, and you know, kind of it's a technique kind of thing, and then it eventually kind of turns into like, "Oh, you want to go?" You know, and it becomes like really competitive and turns into just like a complete banger, you know?
Yeah, kind of a great point. Like very much kind of playful and feeling out, and who can top this? And then suddenly it's like, oh shit! All right, let's do this. That was good.
I mean, the main thing I'll say of your two arcs here in Defiance, Kevin, is please don't hold working with the Immermanians against us.
That's a good point.
Well-
That's a good point.
It's been back-to-back Immermanens brothers.
Wow.
And that
shit.
was not intentional, right? It's just kind of how it worked out. But
Does that mean
but
Will's
like I
coming
said-
back? Is Will coming back next? Oh man. Wow. Yeah, it did kind of work out that way. That's a great observation, Brian. As always, very astute. Very astute. Oh shit. So is Frenchie sticking around for another arc?
Assuming I find someone to play with, and even if I don't, he'll just do segments or something, right?
Okay.
I'll stick around for at least a little bit longer because, again, it's fun. It's not a huge, investment of time for me at this point.
Yep.
Right. The way it is for some of you guys, right? Some of you guys have multiple characters. Some of you guys have I don't want to say, well, no, I do want to say like more intention.
Yeah.
Right.
Some of us write our own matches. No, I'm just kidding.
and I'm just kind of playfully inserting and doing, hey, listen, if anything, I'm a little concerned personally that I'm almost doing the AEW route of, hey, this guy's important. How do we know he's important? Well, he goes against top guys and he wins, right? And he wins. He loses a lot, but he's important. It's like, I might have to pick up a win here or there.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, good point. Yeah. I think you're due. I'd say you're due.
But it's also a thing where, I envision maybe through DEF CON and then playthrough here after that.
Mm-hmm.
Not a whole lot of point in, like, it's fine playing the background character who, is an aging character who is, hey, he was important and he's an important personality, but he's not the guy who's going to step up and dethrone anyone, right? That's not who he is these days. Right?
Unless.
Yeah.
So one thing I will urge you is if you're thinking sticking around through DEF CON, motherfucker, I'd get a DEF CON partner right now. I would pick up that phone and start dialing. Okay, let me give you a little word of advice. Doo, doo, doo. What's that? When are ARC docs due? I knew it. I was waiting for that the other day, Strauss, actually. Truth be told. What do they do?
What is an Octoc?
Oh, well, we'll explain that later. I'll have Greg explain that to you later. That to you.
No, I still don't know.
Yes, you do.
No.
You're doing fine, brother. You're doing just fine.
Oh. So, hey, Kevin, what I said about that match in my beef was like, if that was I think, Kevin, our limited interactions, I think you have the same taste and stuff, especially wrestling, because, like, like me and you, I think, are the big OC stands in the final, right?
Yeah.
Right. So I think, so it's reading that match and I seen, like, the pause, unpause, and, like the, I didn't know Frenchie at all until you showed up with him, like, whenever he showed up and everything. I'm like, man, that's my kind of character right there with, like, and how you're writing him is like, like the old cagey vet and just cheating because he wants to and believes it's fine and everything. Like, that's for me.
Clearly
man.
a successful path, right? There's a reason half the people do it.
Right. Like, why wouldn't you cheat? Could, like, at all points of your life and everything. I'm with you, man. Like, that was like that would, like I said, like, that match, if that was like in a real pay-per-view, would have been my favorite match in the show, but nobody else's favorite match in real life.
I laughed at that. That like, it made me so happy when I read that. And I want to, again, all credit where credit's due. Like, that was 99% Roland, right? I buzzed in a couple things here and there, and I spat, threw a couple ideas at him, but, like, that match itself was him.
Yeah, that match was like there's this killer NXT match that's like I don't think anyone else has ever seen it, and I'm telling everyone it's like one of the best matches I've ever seen. It's Fandango and Summer Rae against Santino and Emma. Like, remember when Santino and Emma were in Raw for a minute and everyone hated on it? They did that because they had this match in NXT, and it's like the greatest comedy weirdo match you'll ever watch in your life. Like, to God, it's like top 5 all time, and it's like top 5 all time match for me. Period. And like Frenchie's giving me off like those kind of vibes of like so much fun stuff to do with like that kind of weirdo thing, as we've talked about already. Behind closed doors.
Intrigue.
Uh-oh.
Your first flying Frenchie is gonna have a green sock snake.
You mean another one? You mean
Doubles.
a second one. Oh shit.
Stone Cold shirt.
Amazing. Oh my god. Yeah, so yeah, dude, I'm stoked to have you here. I was a fan of your shit back in the day. Literally back in the day from afar. So dude, super stoked to go from a lurker to a part-timer, which is fantastic. That's the dream.
I'll say I never saw any of your stuff back in the day, but which means even more. I still heard the name
Right.
somehow.
Yeah, rang out on the streets. You heard that on the streets.
And and then obviously, you know, Mikey vouches for you like crazy, so
That's got to mean something.
it's actually negative.
Where the hell is that guy? How do we get that guy back in Defiance? I was nudging him. I was trying. I've been working on it.
I'll leave him be because he's the type that if the time opens up, the itch will.
Mm-hmm. He said he said he's got ideas. He just doesn't want to do it if he can't do it, which I respect the hell out of. You know.
Yeah, he got a house full of kids. So
does he? Oh shit! Every day he finds a new one. Like, who the fuck are you? Who the hell are you? And like, what are you doing here?
This is an unlikely situation.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Oh my god. All right, so another great match. And again, different. So again, each match very different from the other, and we come up to mask versus hair, which again, love this stipulation. And this is one of those things where I could absolutely see High Flyer 4 get his haircut. Like, that makes sense to me. I could absolutely see. So like, this to me was not a clear-cut thing. I did expect High Flyer to win, but I wasn't 100% confident. So Brian, talk about Victor Vasio and maybe how you're, I mean, I feel like you're approaching him very differently, obviously, from how you've approached him in the past. Talk about this feud, talk about this match. What do you got, man?
This feud was just like the last one. It was very hackneyed, and we cobbled everything together at the last second. Straight deadline writing, which I hate to do. But Tom is fantastic at.
Some people are built for that.
Yeah, and he really pulled us through on a lot of this. But and even like, you know, as far as the not necessarily the finish, but as far as the outcome, you know, whether it be hair or mask, we kind of knew what we were doing before we ever did it, or before the arc even started. But then toward the end, you know, Tom had a lot of great ideas, and we kind of, I don't know, we kind of had to sift through them all to figure out which one we were going to do. Which, you know, obviously you can see which ones we did, but yeah, he had a lot of great ideas. I mean, there was even talk of, you know, Victor not losing the mask, or there was all kind of little things here and there. But the big thing is, I always wanted Victor to lose the mask and then not give a shit.
Like you had that moment in your head.
Yeah, you said the like lose it, hand it over, that like and no big show about just shrug, like, all right, now what, you know, like, and leave. That was always my big thing. And then Tom came with me with other ideas, with High Flyer showing up, High Flyer 4, showing up with his head already shaved, and I was like, you know what, that it kind of, in real life super cheats the fans.
Mm-hmm.
but something I've never seen.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, you know, if nothing else, that'd be a fun reveal.
Mm-hmm.
So we stuck with the original, but we added that in there, and
I like
Yeah.
how it basically just changed the entire stakes of the match. You know, it was like originally this was hair versus mask, and now it just basically says, "I got nothing to lose. I'm just in this to beat you." You know, it's not even about my hair anymore. I just want to beat you. You know.
yeah. Or I meant it to prove you care about something. Only for Vasio to double down, like, wrong again, bud.
That's great. And again, I don't think it's something I don't, certainly not something I've seen before. So again, it sort of feels like unfinished business. But again, interesting match, very different. Talk to me about the Barrio Boys and this group that Vasio is fostering.
The group of which name I can't pronounce.
Correct. Los Caídos?
Sure.
Is that it?
Let's go with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that you can't pronounce it. That's awesome.
I mean, when Strasbourg was gone for that while, and then Creepy Justin brought Carrie back, and then I took him on. There's a whole EFED podcast of me not being able to pronounce his name.
Got it.
But yeah, no. You know what? I think that'll be fun later. It really didn't show improve this arc. I watch what I say because I don't know what will come up, but that was it. That was being built for a purpose, and then the opposite of that fell through, and nothing was able to happen. But then like I kind of was already into the idea, and I was like, you know, whatever. It's like a Mexican raven with a flock. And then I was like, so who should I get? And I was like, all right, well, here's a group of 3 Hispanic guys. I mean, they're Puerto Rican, not Mexican, but whatever, it works. It's wrestling.
Absolutely, it's wrestling. I was just gonna say that. Yeah, dude. Yeah. He's Samoan.
Yeah,
He's Japanese. That's it. Yeah, he's Japanese.
I mean, I really put them together for one specific purpose, and then that didn't happen. But I was like, this could be cool moving forward, and especially with Vasio. Obviously, through that last Strasma helmed press conference, we know he can. And prior to that, we know he can speak English, and that was the whole point. That arc was like, all right, I'm transitioning him into speaking English. It's too annoying to write. I'm sure it's annoying to read. And then I got to that press conference, and it hit me. I was like, I've known a bunch of Mexican dudes in the construction industry, and they speak perfectly understandable English.
They just won't.
Until somebody they don't like walks up, and then they don't. And I was like, that's just good heel shit. Let's do it. And so now I've got more people. They're in canon. They speak some English. I assume. I haven't read a bunch of the Barrio Boys stuff. So yeah, no, I think it'd be a cool little group. I said whatever. I put them both in. I can't ever say the thing out. Los Coyotes, whatever. It's the Fallen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the flock.
Right. No, I dig it though.
I'm just, like everything else in my e-fetting career, I'm just doing Raven again.
Hey, dude, fucking play the hits, man. Play the hits.
I just remembered that I hadn't set up anything for a press conference, and I apologize. I astrologized everybody.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Hey, Brian. You know the TV show Los Spookies?
No.
So it's on HBO.
Mm-hmm.
You might. It's a comedy and goofy. So I don't know how, but you might want to draw from some of it.
What's it called again?
Los Spookies. It's Spanish language, but like English. Fred Armisen, if you know him, he's like kind of one of the guys behind it. And it's about a Mexican. It's like about like a Mexican goth horror gang. Like they get hired to put together I'm trying to think of like an example. Like there's like a mayor of a town that wants tourism, so they come up with like their own Bigfoot kind of thing to like scare everyone and to lure horror tourists and everything.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but they have some good Mexican goth culture in it. If that's your if you're looking for something,
If you're into that, if that scratches your itch, man, I'm into that shit. They got
and it's an awesome show. It's hilarious too. It's like one of the funniest shows like I've seen.
Well, there's two things in e-fetting that's always proven. Well, I don't know. Well, it's two things in e-fetting I always do. It's either rip off Raven or grunge, which I guess is still ripping off Raven.
Oh shit! Oh my god. Well, again, man, stick with what you're good at.
Well, I mean, good is an objective word, but all right.
Listen, that's saying this is the round table, my friend. We're gonna objectify. Up next, we had tag team action. The Lucky Sevens, Bronson, Box, and Blackwood. So stoked to have these two characters back. Obviously, Harmon, Blackwood, Box. The congealment of them. They've congealed together. That's happened. Another one of those things I never saw coming. I wish one of them was in here to talk about like how that happened, because I would love to hear the story of like how that triad came together. But this is great. I love the Lucky Sevens in this feud. The Box and Blackwood winning was 100% the right decision. It was the only way really to go, unless who knows? I mean, I get it wasn't the only way to go, but this was, I think, the right way to go. Really great shit. Another awesome tag match. Anybody want to chime in on this or thoughts?
Tope Suicida from Bronson Box.
Fair enough.
What way to start it off? That was great.
Like,
enough said.
and you know, Box has been in some wild shit. Paul, you may remember Strauss. I don't think you were back yet. Like there was that wild Kale Murray, or shit, was it Kale or Andy? I don't know. One of them Murray boys.
It was probably both of them were probably involved, but yeah.
The no ropes match.
Yep.
That opened DEF CON or what? I don't remember.
Yep.
But he's been involved in some wild shit, and to read Tope Suicida from Bronson's, that's the wildest shit I've seen yet.
Right, and it's like if it was written by somebody who didn't know the character, we'd all be laughing at it, like, oh my god, he fucking did that. But the fact that like we know that was an intentional thing, and like no, he just fucking did that, and yeah, they treated it. Oh my god, that's great. Oh my god.
I mean, to a lesser degree, Gage followed him up, but if Gage was kind of a technical, but still, but they led with the right one. Bronson takes the cake
Right.
box, takes the cake box.
Oh my god, I love it. Yeah, no, this was fun. Again, tag team matches. I think I'm always so impressed by people who tag team matches are hard to write. I feel, but this was really again awesome. Yeah, and again, I love Bronson Box, one of my favorite characters ever. So very stoked to see where this tandem goes going forward. If you ask me, they beat the Lucky Sevens. Just beat the Lucky Sevens. Like, Flex in the Box, new tag team champions. These guys have to be in the conversation. Both former Fists. These guys have to be in the conversation for the next challengers, in my opinion. But that's just me. I don't have
Well,
to look.
And neither do I, to be fair. But
Touche.
Roland stole it from me. But to be honest, they would be even if in a losing effort, they would be a great challenger because you've got that old wrestling trope to fall back on. That yes, two former Fists, but they're not tag team established, know each other, that kind of shit. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I think Fox kind of new too, but they've got more tag team time under the belt.
True. And I'm super intrigued to see the Lucky Sevens land on their feet. Sorry, Straws, please.
I like Harmon backing him up as a manager to that end too. You know, like he was a good third man and like kind of a foil to Morrow and all that. You know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, kind of counter Morrow's influence. Tom Morrow is not so great. Please.
Seth has turned Morrow into like mid '80s Bobby Heenan. Like he's out for almost every match with someone. Like he's all over every show.
That's so true. And like it's perfect. Yeah, like I've been watching a lot of, just because I'm a masochist, I've been watching a lot of like 2005 TNA pay-per-views while I'm writing or whatever. And I don't know what's wrong with me. This is what I do to myself. Anyway. So I never really watched this era of TNA at all. So they have this Team Canada. They got Scott D'Amore, who now runs TNA or Impact in real life, but he was the manager of Team Canada. This guy, like, I wonder if Seth watched that. Maybe I said this in my feedback, but he is very much Scott D'Amore, that vibe of just this annoying fucking dude who just doesn't shut up, who you're waiting for somebody to punch in the face. He'll take a bump when he has to. He's actually wrestled matches as well. So it's like, yeah, I don't know if Seth was inspired by that. I think he said it was inspired by the character from Entourage, the Ari from the Entourage or something, but which also works.
I mean, from the day he brought him in, when I was barely paying attention, he floated the name in Stab Chat, and Tom Morrow. I instantly hate that person.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't matter what you do or beat John Cena's Make-A-Wish. I don't care. I still hate you for that name.
Brighter Tom Morrow.
Oh Jesus.
Jeez. It was something like, what was the slogan? A great today and a brighter Tom Morrow or something like that. Yeah. I'm butchering that and I apologize. But yes, I thought this was, I also loved the placement of this tag match. As like making it sort of feel like a double main event with Troy and Dex Joy immediately following it. I don't know. I thought that worked. Yeah. Any other thoughts on this tag match? Yeah, I thought it was good. I'm stoked. So yes, obviously I think we sort of I don't even know if I was recording at the time, and I apologize if I wasn't, but at the start of the conversation we talked about the fist and blah blah blah. But then you guys are great. That's our feedback. No, but end stream. But we were talking about how it's obviously a long story told here with Dex Joy and his ascension to the Fist of Defiance. I thought this match was really great. Dex has been put through like a meat grinder in the last year, 18 months. I feel like it's just been a constant slog, and this match felt like a slog in a way, in a good way. So again, good twists and turns. The result in my mind was never really in doubt, but I enjoyed this match and a great moment. Quick to the point post-match moment. I love how that was framed. The era of everyone is so fucking good in my opinion. It's so fucking good. So anyway, thoughts on Dex Joy as the Fist, or comments on Lindsay Troy's run at the top? How do you guys feel about the match? What do you want to say?
Yo, I just want to say that, Marcus is so fucking good at this.
Dude.
Like, he's like elite 1% at this. Like, when I think...
Yeah.
Like, because, right, first of all, Dex is like the most likable character. And it's so hard to write somebody who's like Paul, you do it with MB1, right? But it's so hard to write a guy who's like a people's champion who you believe, like it's impossible to do.
Right. And
he writes it like just this lovable dude who just has to constantly come through everything, and his hardship is like, all right, he had to lose a lot of weight to get there and everything. It's like, but you think like that's like so relatable, like
constant injuries too, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Like just constantly has had things to go through it. But the thing with Marcus that's like crazy is like he's got him, right? He does Dex great. He does the Seven so good.
Nathan I.
Like about Briggs. And then Nathan I is just like this like all like this great goober heel.
You know what frustrates me too, Greg, is like it all seems to come so damn natural to him. Like he just spits it out. Like, here you go. Boom, here you go. And I'm like, fuck you. Like he literally came up with the storyline for Dex and Corvo a couple arcs back. He literally came up with like, hey, so how about first show this happens, second show this happens, third show this, then this, and then this happens. I'm like, I mean, yeah, okay. Yeah, dude, that sounds fucking great. Let's do it. Oh, man. But yeah, I agree.
He's so good at this, man. Like he's just got it, And like I mean, I don't know. Like I've probably been, this is not a bragging point to say I've been, like e-fetting since like day one on Prodigy, and I was 12 fucking years old. Like Marcus is as good as like anyone ever at this.
Right.
Like there's a lot of really great people in our group, and like we came up and like on fwrestling.com, and like like everyone, he's as good as like anyone, and needs to be said.
No, it's awesome. I dig it.
Yeah. I would say to add to that, I mean, it's kind of Marcus is great, but for Dex in particular, at the time I didn't know what exactly it was that was grabbing everybody, but I mean, from his first arc, there was already talk like, like this will be over, like this. If this was real life, it's like the time periods in between, all that working to it would be where the internet was losing their fucking mind. Like, why is the title not already on this guy?
Right.
Because I mean, there was from those first couple arcs, there was already like, this writer and this character is it. Like, we need to do this now. Which obviously would be foolish, so we did.
No, I think honestly though, I think the timing was perfect. Personally,
and now I'm saying like back then, sure.
Right, and I mean whatever, it probably would have worked then too, but.
Try like look even like in the '97, like Stone Cold's the biggest thing that ever happens in wrestling. Everybody, even in the little biographies and documentaries, they go to the Rock feud and they skip over the fact that they had a whole intercontinental feud before any of the world championship,
which made all that other shit more important, right?
Exactly, 100%.
Yeah. Hey, this isn't the Atomic Dropcast, all right? Knock this shit off. All right? Motherfucker, listen, I was one of 4 listeners. I'm not listening to that shit again. Okay, I'm fucking out. I'm out of the Atomic Dropcast game. Get me the fuck off the boat.
4.5, all right? 4.5.
Hey, all right, kid. All right. I take it back. Shit. All right, shit. But I was 1 of 445. Let me have that. Oh man. All right. So, yeah. So obviously, great ending to the show. I really loved. Just again, very, very succinct ending. Didn't linger. Told the story. Ended on the high note. The crowd behind it. I thought it was really, really well done. So yeah, the era of everyone has begun. And that is how Night 2 ended, and that is what the lasting image going into the next uncut and the next arc. So pretty exciting. I'm stoked. Love a good title change. I get chicken skin. Okay. All right, so do we want to talk about... do you guys have a match of the night for Night 1? Does anything stand out? Or Night 2, excuse me. Is there a match that you most enjoyed, or you want to put over the most, or is that stupid thing to ask after going through it and not having a list in front of you of all the matches? It might be.
I mean, anything that doesn't involve rolling. All
right. Sorry, Kevin. All right. Sorry about that, Kevin.
Womp
womp. Your collateral damage.
Yeah, you just laid on that grenade, my friend. You just jumped right on that shit. All right, so that's Night 2. Let's talk about Night 1. So there's already been a lot of feedback on Night 1. A lot's been said. Obviously, great show. So let's talk about the card. You had Malik Garland and Elise Aries kicking off the show on the match I enjoyed. NDR, the company men, in a brutal tag, super hot tag match, Titanus Familia and Mantra, Maforntra. Maforntra. Okay, well, that's what it is. All right. I don't know what these kids are into. This Maforntra. The interesting strong style rules match with Scro, Arthur Pleasant, Tyler Fuse, and Jack Harmon, which was sort of a non-match. Cage, Oscar Corvo, Ned MV1. The wedding of Caitlin Kinsey and JJ Dixon. I almost need some soft music playing. I'll see if I can bring something up. and for the Southern Heritage Championship, Henry Keys and Razine. All right, so let's talk first about how ridiculous of a fucking character Malik Garland is. Can we talk about this for like maybe the 100th time? Just when you think Ross has explored the ridiculousness to its nth degree, he surpasses it. He and Billy here combining for a really fun feud. Elise Aries victorious over Malik Garland. She retains the rights to her soul. Brian, how close were you to deleting the server after hearing about the Malik Garland Elise Aries terms of the match?
I mean, to be fair, honestly, like tiger matches and etc. Like all space aliens, all my finger on the button moments. It was this was barely there.
Barely, but that doesn't mean it wasn't. You did not say it. It was like this, like motherfuckers do it. Fucking push me. Fucking push me. Okay, say no more. Say less.
The rights to her identity, name, whatever. Like it's stupid, it's silly, but it's wrestling. It's wrestling silly.
And it's so perfect for Malik Garland and this character Elise Aries as well. Like, in Defiance, I don't think you could have found two characters that could have done this and been as entertaining. So certainly kudos to everybody involved in this. This is ridiculous. Malik Garland coming out to Elise Aries' introduction, dressed as her in the makeup, all that shit, and having like fooling the announcers is just so amazing. Like it's literally one of my favorite visuals ever. So thank you for that. I think. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, so I love this match. Anybody else want to chime in on this? Or what are your thoughts?
It feels like that they set up the whole feud and arc just so they could say the winner of the match and still Elise Aries. Like it felt like that was like I have this idea for how this should end. Let's make it. Now how does it start and how do we get there?
Right. Like, right, that's the punchline. How do we get to what's the joke? Right.
They came up with that first and then just worked it. Like, I don't think they wrote that last when they're putting everything together.
Right. Let's build off of that ridiculous fucking sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you there. That's great. Any other thoughts on this match?
I really enjoyed there was a spot very early on where both characters agree not to hit each other in the face,
yes,
which I just cracked up with. And then I believe Elise immediately smacks him in the face.
I think
all right.
shortly after.
And they both agree to it. They're both like, hey, right, we're too pretty to be hit in the face. No, absolutely. You're 100% right. We shouldn't do that. Whap. And I was reading it in a Chick-fil-A and I'm trying not to laugh because I'm already weird looking, right? I don't need more attention.
Oh my god, that's amazing. Oh, I was reading it in a Chick-fil-A.
Malik calls her a typecast one-trick Jezebel.
Right. I'm sorry. I'm just picturing Kevin slow eating waffle fries, reading the finish to this match. I'm sorry. I'm stuck on that, but I'll catch up.
Paul, I just want to say I love that you think that I'm slow eating anything. As a well-insulated American, I basically it's. To prevent anyone else from suffering, I grab it as soon as I can.
Oh, God bless you. We just got a Chick-fil-A near us. God, it's nice. Any other thoughts on this feud? Anybody else want to chime in or the match?
You guys pretty much summed it up.
Well, Well said, Straws. Well fucking said. So next we had the Scott Hunter
No,
pro.
in fact, we have a match. We don't have a segment. We should just skip the Scott Hunter speech.
Well, no. I didn't skip it. No. Next is the segment. It's the Scott Hunter segment. So I enjoyed this. Obviously, my favorite was the obviously challenging sergeant. Talking about the sergeant safety feud, discussing the safety. You don't even wear a condom in the ring. I got that. I thought that was great. Again,
My favorite is Brooke got Roland to break his no two shows rule.
listen, Roland will get a little fast and loose with you. Yeah, do I need to tell you that? Come on. Do I need to tell you? Listen, if you catch Roland at the right time, Roland will agree to anything. You know what I mean? It's just a matter of, can you catch that window?
As long as I bring it because Roland is so easygoing with everything, but he's like staunch on a few things, and this is when he let go.
Yeah, no, but I'm telling you again
see?
with Roland, it's like literally, where's he at in that moment? Can I catch him there? And he's like, sure, like screw it. We already discussed the Scott Hunter Sergeant Safety match. I love the IRS reference again. Pay your taxes. Yes, stoked for this. Up next is the cage match. It's Oscar Burns taking on the Savage Corvo Alpha. So this was fun. The one thing I'll share, and I think I said it in the beef, is I had finished writing the match, sent it to Seth for him to read. He's like, dude, I love it. Then he's like, let's change one thing. Because I think the original finish was Corvo kind of choked Oscar out and then walked out the door and had like a moment of like walking out of the cage. And Seth was like, dude, let's change the finish. I want Oscar to tap. He's never tapped out before. He needs to tap out here. And I'm like, are you serious? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. I'm not going to argue with that. Like, shit. Thank you so much. So, yeah, dude. Again, Seth's the man. So, he's a giving lover, is Seth. Oh man. This was a fun feud. And again, I think I already said it in all my beef. So, anyone want to chime in on how awesome Seth is or on this feud?
I mean, Seth is a workhorse. I'm very surprised to hear that you, in a feud with Seth, you foregoed your free-written match and wrote it yourself and sent it to him.
I did. Well, listen, again, Seth's been so good to me over the years that I'm like, dude, I got this one. Pretty early on, I was like, hey, like this is let me do this, and he was like, sure. So
yeah, give back sometimes, and you know what? And it paid off. He gave to you.
Yes. When the time comes, I can always count on Seth. Oh shit. That's great. Yeah, so this is fun. I'm excited for the next step.
I just say, I mean, match placement, which is not on y'all, obviously, is odd. I guess Defiance just puts up cages and takes them down real fast.
Well, it was hanging above the ring and lowered, so it wasn't like the full old school. They did the dunka whole thing.
How about that?
All right, so next up they had a tag. We have Titanus Familia and Maforntra, or the Mantra. So obviously I think we sort of touched on this in a sense, or no, maybe we didn't. I love that Tom Morrow's bringing these two characters together, Declan Alexander and Nathan I would never put together, and so I love this pairing. I was surprised that Titanus Familia won, but then again, maybe it's leading to something else. So this has been a fun feud. Dan Leo James is one of my favorites. What do you guys think of this match or the feud?
Yo, Mantra is the shit. Like, their freaking stuff on Uncut where they're comparing charcoal brands, like the best kind of charcoal to use for when pole walking is like one of those like I'm like, man, like I would have done a 15-minute when I was still doing comedy a 15-minute stand-up bit on that if I could think of it. Like that is just like wired to my brain just for that. And then I know I already gave Marcus his flowers. I do have to give him one piece of negative feedback. A couple of weeks ago, I told him he should come up with a move for Nathan I called Third Eye Blind. And
he didn't fucking do it. He hasn't fucking done it. Right.
He hasn't done it yet. He hasn't done it.
Yeah. He's like, hey, dude, you're great, but get your shit together and incorporate my fucking ideas, please.
Come on, man. Come on. Just like, hear me out, man. Yeah, I thought like it's
play
such
ball.
Such a good name for your character and some move with him or whatever.
Because Third Eye Blind is incredibly douchey.
Yeah.
And Nathan I is incredibly douchey, so I could see that.
Yeah, and he has the third eye.
Sure, of course.
Right.
Yes, there's also that. There's also that.
Right. Every way. Yeah. No, man, like that is so my like mantra is like so my thing for everything I in real life. Like I have friends who send me things of like gurus like self-styled gurus on Instagram like all the time just to or like my friend, like I'll just get like a text from my friend. It'll be a YouTube video of like some like 35-minute video, and it just be like, "You're gonna love this food forager," or something like that. So just to see like an EFED version of something already,
oh my God.
I mean, something I'm already like attracted to making fun of all of the time as it is.
Dude, I'm telling you, I so want to see your browser history, but I'm also fucking terrified as hell. I am so scared.
When you said that, I was like, shit. I'm on my work laptop and I have a lot of stuff to explain to people.
I bet you do, man. They're gonna pull you in and just be like, "Are you good, man? What's going on?" Oh,
right.
man.
Matches and gurus.
right. Well, you were looking at that. You were no man. I'm mostly referring to that time you were looking at that. What was it like? It was a role play fed where you role played as a fox.
Yeah.
And you're not allowed. They listed out in the rules like you're not allowed to use keys. You're not allowed to open doors.
Magic. These are real foxes.
Right. I'm just like, dude, if you're looking at that. In this situation, what the fuck else are you up to? Like, I'm fascinated, Greg. I really am.
Yeah, I don't want to know. I don't want to.
No magic.
No, wait a minute. No magic. Not even a Bigfoot. Not even a Bigfoot wizard fox.
For there and for here, you can use keys. There's no magic.
I'll let you. Yeah, you have more freedom here. Oh my God. All right. So speaking of freedom, up next we had strong style rules. It's Scro. It's Arthur Pleasant. I thought this match was pretty cool. And I think Scott mentioned he wrote much of it, or somebody mentioned, I think it was Scott who did a lot of it. Very impressive. I thought this was a different kind of format. I've never seen a match like this before. I liked the kind of how they used the Defiatron. So, I dug this match. What do you guys think of this feud or the pairing here in this pay-per-view? Stipulation match.
Strike count and the weapon count kind of thing is very interesting.
Yeah, I don't think I'd seen that. I've never seen that style of match before. And like that was my question too. Is like, was this something they created or is it a thing?
My kind of take, like originally when they like announced kind of like the stipulations was kind of like I feel you could make a good tense match if it were just had like the strike count, 3 strikes down and like that's the match or something like that. And the weapon thing and the rope break thing seemed to like almost kind of, but they I feel like especially using the Defiatron, like seeing it all kind of play out, it like kind of made sense in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Where it was like, okay, we're keeping score as we're going along, and then like it definitely played into the finish, and I thought it paid off in that sense. I thought it was like, okay, that's actually something creative and unique. You don't like see matches kind of built around something like that.
Yeah, I agree.
So this is only the second arc I've been around with MJ. And I think it's back-to-back matches where he had like the most, because his last pay-per-view, he had the ladder match where the ladders weren't there and they had to get the delivery from Home Depot. in order to have a ladder match.
That was good.
Or whatever. So it was like back-to-back shows. He's had the weirdest, like, most interesting take on a match. Like either like completely new ladder match, like a ladder match without ladders, or then like this like, you know, and you know, not, and I know Scott had, you know, not just to give it all MJ his, you know, the shine with it and everything, but then there's like, you know, like that this crazy stipulation, and that's really fucking cool to have somebody who can come up with like all kinds of like crazy wacky ideas like that, but like they're still based, like they're easy to read, and like they don't like, you know, like, because we've all been through that hell of some insane like gimmick match that some fools come up with, and you're just like, what the fuck even is this? And it's like 900 pages, and then there'll be like 19 run-ins, and like, oh yeah, sure, now like there's a bear involved now or some shit like that, you know. And they just made it like a really good match with weird, interesting rules.
And they, like, again, every good gimmick match is, the point is to exploit the gimmick, right? In some way, you got to exploit the gimmick. So, and I thought they did that by Arthur sneaking in an extra shot with a weapon, right? So again, I thought this was very clever. Arthur getting the win here. Arthur's been on a bit of a tear, really. He's had a handful of main events, I feel like, this past arc, and getting a win here over Scro. I don't think Scro loses anything here. Both guys, I feel like, were hurt. Was it true that both guys were like... Stretcher comes out? No, it's Scro. No, it's Scro. Scro hurt his neck. That's right. Scro broke his neck. But yeah, so again, there's another guy who's on the goddamn shelf. Son of a bitch. Mark it up. God damn it. But yeah, so again, to everyone's point, I think really fun gimmick match there. Unique. Not something you can do probably not even every year, but pretty cool. Could become somebody's signature.
Interesting match, and putting those two together, I'd expect no less.
What'd you say, Strauss?
I thought it had a good build to it, like it, you know, like the last few matches where they were just like nonstop. Well, I mean, like I want to say like the last Def TV, they had like a segment that was kind of like displaced between the backstage brawl that happened like before one of the matches that Arthur Pleasant went out. Then like later, it just seemed like a continuation of the brawl, but no, they really amped it up, I think, and it turned into a pretty good match.
For sure. All right, so up next we had the close-up segment for NDR and the Company Men. A little bit of a Lance recap, recapping the feud pretty succinctly, show by show, kind of laying out the history between the two groups. Then you had Terry Melton, who came out for her very literal close-up in this promo, kind of setting the table for the tag team match. The tag team match itself saw a bit of controversy towards the end. Terry being herself, inserting herself as only Terry can insert herself, and walking away with Gems 1 and them 0. So pretty big. Tabitha Kinsey out on her ass on this match, heading into the wedding later on in the show, which kind of was, to me, was a little bit of foreboding of like, oh shit, this is going to backfire in a very negative way. Very hot match. I feel like this one started super hot, started before the bell. And then that's right, Benny had to get order to start the match. So again, a lot of heat here in this match, building the characters. I think the challenge of all these characters at once is getting people acclimated to them all at once, because it's a lot of new characters all at once. I feel like these recaps are super helpful for people who are trying to absorb everything but haven't been able, like myself, to absorb everything, get a sense of what you're looking at here. So kudos to Greg. I guess I'll throw it out to Greg first. Obviously, the wedding looms. So I feel like maybe you can talk about this without talking about the other, but talk about this past arc and what you were trying to accomplish.
Well, I did the recap for that and the wedding solely because, like I started like fantasy wrestling in like 1992. So there's a good chance I may have invented the passive aggressive response to I'm not reading all of that, which is like I like a lot of what I see here. Like, yeah, I may have invented that, guys. I know what it's. I know. I wrote too much. I'm so crazy.
Oh, that's great.
So like, yeah. Like, and if you guys saw me walking all around and everything, it's like, like I got my son and my wife, and my wife wakes up if I like cough at home, right? I work from home, and I just I have a lot of boredom, so I overwrote the shit out of this story, and I get that and everything. One of my motivations with it is Seth envy, in that he's got
what do you got?
so many characters, right?
Yeah.
And then part of the thing that I like when I started like for real with when I started for real with Terry and JJ, right? It's like, all right, I have one character here, and it feels weird doing angles with people, and it's like because I have a new character, and it's kind of like I got it, like all right, I need to get my characters established, and that feels like I gotta, like it has to happen via, like that makes sense. Like, yeah, my character's got to go over, right? But it's like I'm still like. Some of you know me, not everyone does. And then when you do something, like in e-fetting, it's so fucking weird, and you have no idea who likes you, who doesn't half the time, And I'm just kind of like crazy to start with. So it's just kind of like, all right, well, like what's a good way for me to kind of work with a lot of different people so I can just get over myself with that. And that's just like make a whole bunch of characters over, and I didn't mean to make them all at once. I just wanted to like kind of ease into it and everything, but then I just kind of like had like all these kind of ideas at once, like Brian, like you'll appreciate this. Like the Kinseys are the Gilmore Girls, Tabitha's Emily, Aurora's Lorelai, and Caitlin is Rory. So then I was just like, because I thought it'd be fun to do a Gilmore Girls stable of wrestlers. And then, like Defiance, there's, women and men are equal. So I'm like, yeah, why not? Like, that sounds like fun. And I always wanted to do a wrestling wedding just because that's funny.
Yeah, dude. Like, who doesn't want to do a wrestling wedding? Like, yeah, we all aspire to eventually. Everyone in this chat will do a wrestling wedding at some point before we check out.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I've kind of I've been using, like Cristiano Caballero and Braden W. Leverington, I've been kind of using them as like fodder for JJ loss, like to lose to JJ. Like Cristiano and JJ were partners in tag party, like the Brazen tag party. So it was just kind of like that's a cool jumping off point to use that as like kind of a mini rivalry with them, And then so I'm just like, all right, I'll try and tie it all in together. It's not going to make sense to anyone but me. And then I'm just like, I have all this like logic stuff, like in my brain, like it's got to be like, well, this has to be explained. I have to do it this way. And then this has to be explained this way. It'd be cool to use a Cure concert as a background and everything. And then it's just kind of like, yeah, nobody gives a shit about all of that, So I get it and everything. But I want to create a lot of characters. I want to do a Gilmore Girls story and a Gilmore Girls stable, and I wanted to do a wrestling wedding, and I came up with all of it. And Brian, one thing that is also a Gilmore Girls reference is that I don't know if you caught it or not, but W was giving Caitlin all of these books along the way. He's Logan. He's Logan. What'd you say?
Well, Logan or Luke's nephew?
No. He's Logan because he's like a rich dickhead.
Well, that's why you're giving the books. That kind of mixes it up for me. Yeah, Rich makes sense, has the books, but she had the book thing with
Jess. Yeah, with Jess. Yeah. And JJ is Dean. Like he's like well mannered, but JJ never read anything. So he was just like kind of like the first boyfriend. And then I wrote Caitlyn all along this time to have as intentionally wrote her to be as dull as possible. Like she's supposed to suck.
Right.
And nobody flat out mentioned that.
Right.
But like,
well, I picked up on like she's not a good person. Her family's not good people. So like, it's gonna be a problem. Like that was always my vibe.
Yeah. So like my kind of like thing with that is like we all know people and or have ourselves dated people. Like you know, like you always have your friend who's like, why the fuck is he so in love with that person? Like she sucks.
Right.
Like nothing to her. She's so boring and annoying. Like it was like supposed to be like that kind of thing, right? And then I kind of wanted to make it like JJ was blindly in love with her and like overlooked her clear faults, such as when she kicked away the Fabergé egg she used as a weapon against Nikki Sins, was like literally a symbolism of love is blind right there. Like I'm blindly in love with you, so I can't even see when you're cheating, kind of thing.
Yeah, dude, you put all these layers into it that obviously when I read it, I saw the Black Dahlias and I'm like, oh, that's probably not good. Like I literally did think that when I read it.
Yeah.
I didn't pick up on the other shit. Truthfully, I didn't pick up on the other shit, but and I've never seen Gilmore Girls, so like all that shit's lost on me. But
yeah.
But
yeah. I had like a bunch of 90210 quotes and a saying.
I thought the vows were good, dude. I thought those vows were legit.
Oh yeah.
Those vows were legit.
Where did I get the vows from? Fuck.
Oh, see,
I didn't steal the vows. Yeah, I kind of made up the vows.
Yeah, dude, I wanted them to be yours. Thanks, man.
Yeah. I totally made up the vows. Yeah, like man. I didn't like steal them from anywhere. I don't think.
Great. That's great.
All I gotta say is, with all this going on, if you do a segment, uncut, propaganda, whatever, and introduce a
oh Jesus, what are you doing, Brian? What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? Be careful. Just be careful what you're doing here. Just be careful.
A segment in catering backstage and introduce a analog to Suki St. James. I will add her to the staff page.
Yeah. Oh fuck. Damn, dude, don't give me more to do, man. Yeah. But Ross, you had some really good feedback for the match that I definitely knew I needed to do. I just like didn't have the time or the space to do it in that like NDR right now, like they're just there.
I just Googled Suki St. James.
Yeah, Melissa McCarthy, man.
Yeah, dude. I see that.
I was her jump off, man.
Oh yeah, our best roll ever.
Anyway, I'm sorry. Go back to Straws. Talk to Straws. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Because like you get like, because NDR are just like, all right, like they're the sons of two guys nobody fucking remembers, who so I get that and everything, but I got because of that I'm already working on shit for Uncut, the next first Uncut with them and everything. So you will see your feedback incorporated in what I have in Uncut greatly.
Which means Suki St. James is not fucking far behind, I think. I'm pretty sure. Hey, we're gonna get Juki St. James. Oh,
right, Jesus. We were sheltered. We briefly were like gonna shelter this dog. Oh, that's another reason why I'm out of the house, is we have a new dog and I don't feel like walking the dog for the 15th time today either.
I just thought you were a fugitive from justice. I just assumed.
The town of Gilmore Girls and just trolled the streets late at night.
yeah. I'm in like the neighborhood I'm in Philly right now. It's called Chestnut Hill. It's kind
Step
of
out of the car, please.
Yeah.
Step out of the car, please.
No, we had a dog we were gonna adopt, and then we ended up like weren't able to at the time. We named her Suki.
See? Oh, you don't even know what you just did, Ryan. You don't even know what you just did. All right, so we'll get to we'll talk more about the wedding in a bit. We have Tyler Fuse and Jack Harmon.
Go.
No, you're good. No, you're fine. You're good, man. We have Fuse, Harmon. I love how this feud was built, and clearly, if they can walk again, it's not over. Really enjoyed this match, as I mentioned in my feedback. I love Tyler Fuse. Tyler Fuse is such an interesting character to me. Such a polar opposite from Connor. Yeah, so thoughts on this feud, thoughts on this match?
Now that you mention it, it's almost unbelievable that Tyler Hughes comes from somebody like Roland.
Right.
It's the polar opposite of Roland.
In a way, yeah. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, I love this match. This is probably one of my like top 3 for this night 1 anyway, just because like it came off as like really brutal, but I love the concession stand brawl. I love like Mary Lynn and Princess Desire getting in on it, you know, and Jack Harmon like enjoying every second of it, you know, and it's like, yeah, the lunatic is like coming out. And
Yes. Yeah, masochist.
Yeah, I feel like Roland and Ford did really great work with this. Like it was one of those that just I feel like at face value almost are just kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, but Tyler Hughes and you know Jack Harmon, you know, like they needed a match together, and it like really drew me in as I'm reading it.
And it was just a brawl, all right, and it was very creative. Yeah, yeah, brutal.
It was all over the place. I love ending it with how it kind of began. Like at the very end, he just, I'm gonna throw you off this stage. Like he did.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on this match or the feud, folks?
That was like written like a, you know, like a real fight. Like, good job at like making it like a, you know, like really different than like your usual like brawl. You know, like it felt like how did all these nice little touches to make it like you know, like not just it really stood out as something that was like a fight. You know, like it felt like it was really done well to make it feel like real. You know, not just like a wrestling brawl. Like it kind of felt like ugly. So this is nice and awkward now.
No, I mean it's kind of a non-match, but yeah, it's long, well written, but long. I mean, Roland and Tom are both great. Obviously, there's no debating that. I didn't have any particular thoughts about it, but I'm trying to just fill awkward space while Paul gets a beer. So back to Greg and Brian's Gilmore Girls podcast. What did you think about the four episode movies?
It sucks, dude. It sucks so much, man. I'm not alone with that.
I'll say this. I won't say it sucked. It let me hang out with those characters again for a while, but it wasn't good.
It brought me back to like my favorite characters, right? Which I love. The best stuff was the stuff with Emily.
Keep an eye out, would you?
She's my favorite character.
Working in whale museums.
Yeah. Hang out in a whale museum. Yeah. But then like there was like the 30-minute dance scene with Rory and like Logan and he's like Rich. I'm like, God, like, get this over with. Like this should not even be a minute, let alone.
It's back. So wrestling, DDT, suplex.
All right, so
good stuff.
Congratulations on. I walked away for 2 seconds and we got to. I don't even know. I can't wait to go back and see where this went. So
only good place.
Up next was the wedding, and the wedding kind of delivered on every part. I will say that reading it back this morning, I realized that when I didn't see Tabitha, that should have been an indication, right? And at first, I truthfully, my first read through did not pick up on the fact that Tabitha wasn't out there for it. Obviously, it was established she wouldn't be, but like, I didn't pick up on that. So her coming out was like, oh, well, fucking of course. Well, fucking of course. I'm very curious to see if JJ gets with the mom A little ridiculous action, because that's where I'd go. I'd go for the easy story there, a little conflict. Okay, you want a conflict. But yeah, so I thought this was great. Again, everyone loves a wedding. I think Joe had said in his feedback that he thought maybe the crowd might have shit on this a little earlier. And I could see that. Most wrestling crowds, I feel like, are so skeptical. They're fucking, at this point, they're jaded. Here comes a wedding. All right, where is it? So, like, they're like, you watch, like, they did the weddings in the past. Like, half the crowd's booing or taunting, waiting for that moment to come where that spoiler is going to happen and somebody's going to fuck this up. That everybody's amping on it. I don't know how you could have captured that any better, perhaps, but it was just something I never really thought about, how you could kind of.
Yeah. So I actually, like, in an early sketches of when I was sitting down to write the wedding, I was writing it with the crowd not into it, but I couldn't, like, do it because I'm just like, it feels like I'm shitting on my own angle.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, how do I write this? And then, like, logically, like, I want the Caitlyn's betrayal to be, like, really villainous. And if the crowd's shitting on something and then she breaks a vase over JJ's head, how, like, wouldn't she be getting the crowd pop then from a crowd that's already booing this sappy thing? So just, like, logically, I couldn't get my brain around, like having the crowd hate, like, I couldn't logically make it work. But I do agree. And I do want to write stuff where, like I will write stuff where a crowd shits on my angles, like myself and everything. Like, I think that's funny to do and everything, but I guess
what I'm saying is what I always think is interesting, and you kind of saw it on the night 2 opening tag match when Brock got hurt, how, like, everything in the match kind of, the way it was written, when Resin was hurt, everything in the match kind of stopped, like that realism of, yes, this is a fake sport. It's pretend what's happening in the ring, but there are moments where when you can write it where, oh fuck, this is real, right? It just kind of adds to it. And again, not shitting on the wedding, because I love the wedding, but that just to kind of expand on that thought. That's always shit that I think is kind of interesting. It's like, how can you, without breaking the fourth wall completely, give a little bit of a wink to, oh fuck, like, this is a real thing. I always find that interesting. I don't know if anybody would add to that or.
Yeah, actually, happy man.
I would say generally, I would 100% agree with Joe in that, but he's fired.
He's fired. So
fired. It's been a while. So no, but here's the wrinkle in that, and one of the reasons why I never wanted Defiance to tour either. Well, there's a more logistical, but whatever. Now that Defiance is touring, we have to assume it's been to open up to a more mainstream audience. Because if it was not, we would not be filling.
But think about, Brian. Think about, like, the weddings that WWE has done, right? Like Test and Stephanie, right? Like, the crowd was ready for, like, they were kind of shitting on that in a way. They wanted to see it. They don't get me wrong, they wanted to see those people come out there and stand there and go through this, but they knew that somebody was going to get fucking hurt. Somebody's heart was going to get broken, like, and they were ready for it. I guess what I'm saying. Weddings are interesting.
That's the downtimes. That's when WWE's been just, treading water.
Billy and Chuck.
Well, they're the only game left in town, and that those audiences have seen so many weddings. As far as I know, I could be wrong. I'm no deaf historian, but knowing kind of how that old gang went, probably first wedding ever. Like, so
sure.
For the audience, for if we're going by, this is an incredibly faithful audience, first wedding ever. I just don't think from the time they turn, I don't think it was that long. Yeah, maybe because you acted a lawyer, but
right.
I do like once they do turn, you get little touches that really show off, like the chaos, like the ring of the bell, and then Quimby on the mic, like, please don't throw garbage in the ring. Like, I always wondered, like, during the NWO shit, like, other than obviously they wanted it, but like, why don't somebody get on the mic and tell these motherfuckers to knock it off?
Right. Well, because
Yeah,
I think it was very Go ahead.
I watched the I stole that from the Malice at the Palace when the Pacers went up in the crowd to fight Pistons fans
Oh shit.
that time. Because
Latrell Sprewell.
what did you say?
Latrell Sprewell.
No, Ron Artest.
Oh, Artest.
Yeah. Yeah, when Ron Artest ran out into the crowd, and like everyone, when everything started going crazy and everything, the announcers were like, "Please refrain from throwing things on the court." And like, if you say that in a heated situation,
Makes it
like,
more.
that's just gonna get more people. Like, that's just gonna get more things. And I even put in at the end, like when the estate of Tabitha Kinsey are like doing like their final pose, like before they're walking in. I even put in it. There's like fans overhead dumping soda on them from over their head.
Yes.
That's what they did with the Malice at the Palace.
No,
I put it. I think I put it like it was like the Malice at the Palace, like their point. But I just stole it from that. Like was just like unprompt, like not
an
like
angry crowd, an angry crowd, right?
You even have it in here, much like the Malice at the Palace. I didn't know what that was. I was like, oh, that's some wrestling shit I don't remember.
Yeah. Nah. It's like a 2004 Pistons Pacers riot. And everything.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, and then Jaws, I did like the I don't know if you read my overly pretentious thing I wrote about the match, but I did it. I had you in mind with that, with like a cinematic approach of when JJ gets the vase hit in his head. He falls to his knees with his arms, like I wrote it like arms wide open, like he's on the crucifix. And then he gets up and falls 3 more times. And I wrote at one point, and I was like, nah, this is too dumb. That it was like he was gonna have glass in his scalp, like a crown of thorns, to kind of do. But then I'm just like, I was writing it, and I'm like, nah, this sucks. I need
too
to like,
far. Right?
Yeah, like this is way too dumb.
Rein in the symbolism. No, I feel you.
Yeah, rein it in a little bit.
Right. No, I dig it. No, dude, I thought again, it's one of those situations where now it's like JJ has a broken heart, I think was his latest Iris Divine update. He's day to day with a broken heart. I'm very intrigued to see where JJ goes from here and where Caitlyn and the company men, because it seems like she very quickly, and I'm very curious to hear more of her motivation in this decision. I'm stoked. So yeah, man, you definitely have my attention.
All right, enough about me. Back to you guys.
All right, well, let's talk about me. Up next, it's Ned Reform taking on Masked Violator #1. You know what? Great segue, Greg. Let's talk about me. So I will say what I loved about this. Obviously, Joe and I knew when we were doing the Levi Cole stuff, we knew we were gonna get to Ned's return. This was really just a great avenue to bring Ned back, give him a really great win on a big stage and in a hard fought fight. Which I wrote a little bit of this. I wrote a little bit of this one. Hard fought fight. I wrote a little bit of this one. This was 90% Joe. Joe outlined the whole thing. Joe taught me a lot in this arc. I always learn from the people. I always try to learn from the people I work with so far, and I've taken little bits from everybody, how they write their matches, how they structure the arcs, how they structure the documents. So yeah, Joe really outlined this match pretty much move for move. I wrote like the first maybe third of it. And I just followed Joe's outline move for move, section by section. I think I told him I added 1 move, and I go, dude, if you can find that, I'll give you $5,000. I don't think he looked for it though. If you can find the move, I added 1 move to the match. That's right. Can you name the move? And I don't think. Listen, dude, $5,000, 5,000 Turkish lira can be yours. Anyhow, so this was fun. Levi Cole is a scumbag. The Honor Society is a thing, and the era of Net on top. Get used to it, kids. It's the era of net on top. It's a goddamn shame. What the hell's the world coming to, Brian? You better keep your finger better be on the button. You hear me?
Joe's definitely fine.
Yeah, so this was fun. And I'm stoked for what comes next for everybody involved. Man, the Soher, Henry Keys, Resin. A lot has been said about this match. I feel like everything has been said about this match. And Straws ducked out. He's like, oh shit, they're going to do my match next. I'm out. But no, I loved almost as much as the match. I loved the intro to the match. Like, I read it and I felt it. The beats in between, the growth of this feud over time. Kind of telling the story. And the thing is, yes, was this the moment where Resin, quote unquote, here he's coming back. But is this the moment that quote unquote Resin should have won the Soher? Sure. But does this still works? like Henry Keys winning this match is not completely at all out of the realm of possibility. As a matter of fact, like I read it and I'm not knowing what's going on. It's like, okay, that if you didn't know going into it that Straws was taking a break, you'd just be like, oh shit, right? You wouldn't really, you know what I mean? So like, yeah, I thought this was a phenomenal match, but for me it was the build. The recap to me was almost as good as the match. Great shit. Obviously a lot of story there. I guess before we turn to Straws on this match, I'll turn it to the panel. My handsome panel. Let's talk about it. Gentlemen, you want to weigh on this match? Anybody want to talk about Henry Keys and Resin for the Southern Heritage Championship?
Yeah, man, fantastic match. Like I said earlier in the chat or whatever, in response to both Straws and Lenz's break messages. There is little we can do as staff to reward people who are doing it well and at a high level. And it really begins and ends with, here's a fake title and a fake thing.
And a gold name on the Discord.
For a temporary spell. So I forget this female comedian. I'm blanking on her name right now, but she calls fiction stuff make 'em ups, and that's what I get. This is all just make 'em ups. And so we can do very little to reward people for their due diligence and hard work. And it takes us some time because we got to work into it. And but yeah, I mean, I feel like I complimented too much. Charles has never come back, but that was the deal. We wanted to give him something. But I'd say something that makes sense because it's still in the story. And then again, that's I'm not disappointed. Hey, you gotta take a break. You gotta take a break. I took a fucking year-long break, and some would say I'm still on break.
And they'd win. You probably win that argument, I think, on a good day.
I mean,
I took like an 8-year break, and I'll take another one, motherfucker. Like,
and so far, I mean, fuck, I don't even remember how long now. 5-6 years or something since Tom and I kept this thing moving, and it's still going. And back then I said it, and I feel the same way now. If we don't tip the cart too much, this thing runs itself. It'll keep going. And in that regard, I say, if you gotta take a break, take a break. We will be here when you get back. Fingers crossed.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, no, I love the match. I would have loved to have seen. I mean, given what's going on currently, it made most sense for Resin, obviously. But I wouldn't have cared Resin or if Kerry was in the same position. Same. Like I just wanted to see the handler get the tiniest of thing we can give. But I mean, hey, uh, he knew he was earmarked for it, and that's sometimes that's just as good enough. But
Sometimes
yeah,
it's an honor just to be nominated. But one thing that just occurred to me as you're saying that, Brian, is that it literally just occurred to me, and I'm probably an idiot for just realizing it. But had Henry Keys lost that match, had Resin won, Victus would have lost every match at Maximum Defiance, which is really cool. I kind of like the fact that in retrospect, don't get me wrong, I think that would have been interesting. But Henry being the only one who won, he can go, but he's got a fucking fire in his belly, thinks he can fuck over the world, like he can take on anything. I'm really stoked to see. I said to Brush, I'm like, I feel like we're about to see the Triple H post WrestleMania, whatever it was, 14. Sean just lost to Austin. He's gone, and now Triple H is running the fucking DX, and he's here we go. We don't die, we multiply, right? Kind of thing. And I'm like, I feel like that's what's coming with Henry, and I'm really stoked for Victus and where that goes.
Usually speculate on these things because sometimes I've seen some stuff, but this is early enough. I've not seen anything I don't believe. So especially with this decision changing, when it did. But yeah, no, that would be like story wise, that would be fucking fantastic for Keys to kind of, as LT takes a break, Keys steps up as like the new head of Victus, and then if Lindsay does come back, then there's. I know they wanted to tag, but then there's some clash there. Like
wasn't it a cage match or something, or Last Man Standing or something? They had a match, Austin or not Austin, Jesus, HBK and Triple H when HBK came back. But yeah, yeah. So no, I get what you're saying. Yeah, so obviously, I loved everything about this match. I thought the finish was awesome. I thought the way that when Resin got hurt and you had the 10 count, the drama built up there was great. He tried to fight back, wasn't able to. Keys pulls it out. I thought it was phenomenal. So it's kind of taking a sad song and making it better, as the kids say. Any Straws, you want to weigh in on this or what do you want to say? Have you said fuck enough? Are you tired of talking about this or what, buddy? Let's talk about it.
So Ben did about 80% of this match. I outlined some of it, and he made coherent sentences out of the vomited dialogue I put down. He handled most of the match on a Tuesday evening while I fiddle farted around with a intro that took hours to create. It could have been action for some reason. Every time I read this match, I just keep thinking like, ah man, if I had one more fucking day. No, it was yeah.
So let's move on. I mean, well, fuck, dude. I don't want anybody to feel that way. God damn it. God damn, son. Oh shit.
But no, like yeah, in the end, like I think like the finish actually made the night 2 hit even more. This was such a suck the air out of the arena, like really swerve people. Like I didn't even anticipate how much it would, but like looking at it from kind of an outsider perspective, or like looking at it from a completely objective point of view, I think it was still a good finish to this night 1, and then it ramped up by night 2 with the next Joy. So
I love Keys. What Keys' crazy unhinged promo at the end of the show, at the kind of ends night 1. I run this place. I'm the man on top. I'm the forever champ, right? So it might be the era of everyone, but Defiance has a forever champion, which I think forever champion is pretty fucking badass, and I hope he holds on to that. I don't know if he plans on doing that, but that.
That's a great like dual story going on one tier and the other, because the So Hurt generally is like the Intercontinental, or U.S. like the stepping stone too. So yeah, it's just, I mean, unintended, but like yeah, I think storyline wise, like everything is set up really nicely for all kinds of options.
So let me ask you, Brian. Like, I mean, obviously you weren't here for all of Defiance, and I don't think we have anybody in the chat who was. But uh, has there been a feud where the Southern Heritage Champion and the Fist kind of like the Soher guy is like, hey, now I've earned it. Has that been done a bunch of times to death at all?
I don't think so. The closest I can call it, I mean, my time was Impulse dropping it on a random, I think Def TV
Like Curtis
to,
Penn?
well, he dropped it to Creepy Justin to stop. I know to fuck. As the original Reaper,
No,
original
the
Code
Fist
Reaper.
or the Soher?
No, the Soher, the Soher.
Okay.
He dropped the Soher to go up, I believe, to take the Fist. It was in a moment of transition. Need to do something quick.
Yep.
It wasn't it was the Curtis Pin thing. Yeah, it did the Fist from Curtis Pin. But before that, they made sure he dropped the Soher to Codename Reaper.
Well, because again, like to your point, Brian, like there's a million ways you can go, right?
You can get all the details about that incident in chapters 9 through 14 of Pete's book.
Hold on.
Oh shit! No way. He's got
One
Pete's
shit.
book. Oh shit!
The Legend of Valerian's Garden.
You bought that shit, or did he give you that shit?
I didn't read it. I read some of it.
Did he send it to you, or did you buy it?
Pete don't like me. I bought this.
You bought that? You bought that? Good for you, dude. Oh, that's great.
No, I've been going through all my books. I'm like selling all my DVDs, all my
Oh,
books, anything. And I came across it, and I'm like, I wonder if it's worth anything.
Oh shit! He's been trying to drive the price up, which hey, you gotta respect.
Hey, shout out to Pete, man. Buy Pete's book.
Yeah, there it is. There it is for just $14.99, available on Kindle. And all,
Did I pay that much?
I don't know. I don't know how much it is.
Hey, Straws, you said something interesting when you were talking about like your break today, and what you're saying like you don't know how you can write resin as a champion and everything. I think once you get like back and once you get like like take your deep breath and everything, your well-deserved deep breath and everything, like you're gonna see it because I know what you mean, man. Like there's some characters in wrestling and everything, like the chase is what's more important than the victory. But at the same time, man, like I think maybe just kind of resin's definitely built like that. I think kind of the way to reframe it for ideas down the line is that even if he has the title, that doesn't mean he's not chasing something, You just have to kind of figure out like what the next part of that is. But man, you're so good and so great at this, and you've been so like nice to me since I came and everything. And like you deserve a good break and everything because like you kind of like you've done like you've really been like one of like I look to like you as like one of the anchor guys here, of like stuff that like I see, like resin was like my first guy like I was like into here like as a face chasing something, and then and I really like Curry as like a great like gatekeeper dickhead guy that you've been doing with it and everything, man. And like you deserve a good break.
They both evolved, like where you came in, because like resin originally started as like Stalker's crony, Creepy Justin, because Creepy Justin basically got like a hold of me one day and he was like, dude, can I use resin for an angle? And I'm kind of like, I'll come in and I'll consult.
That's how he does it, dude. That's how he fucking does it every time.
Then you kind of like start reading the cards and you're kind of like, okay, maybe I can handle my own.
Yeah, leave my guy alone. Let me do it.
And resin was just basically supposed to be a shit heel that, you want to see like take that fucking lariat and flip over and like take the big flop, you know, like it was supposed to be like the huge worker that somehow like got over and became like an accidental success, and I'm like, oh well, you know, and it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, almost within his character, you know, he'd be the kind of guy who would like, haha, Henry Keys, I've beaten you, and it's like, now you're the Southern Heritage champion. I'm like, oh, uh, seriously, guys, I just wanted to beat Henry Keys. Can I just, you know, okay, you know, he's like the one kind of guy that like he always wants something and does all these great things to get it, and the minute he gets it, he's like, I don't know what to do with this right now.
It's like it's the dog chasing the car. What will the dog do when it catches it?
Whereas Carrie was just kind of like the typical, like, you know, baby face, like from Seattle's Best, you know, teaming up with fucking Scott Douglas and shit, just like the longtime favorite that, like, I feel like, well, when I came back in and, like, you know, started, like, putting him in a direction, I think, like, my kind of, like, cornet senses started, like, going in of, like, this is a wrestler that, this is Samoa Joe, okay? This is how a wrestler needs to act in a fucking logical situation. He's not going to stand and stare at the screen. He's not going to slap his thigh when he does a super kick, you know? He's not going to do an unnecessary 450 splash off the apron to the outside when you have to pin the guy in the ring to win the match, you know? And yeah, through that kind of mentality, he just kind of became a dickhead, you know? Like, I think Brunk coined it best, like, he's the Pacific buzzkill.
It's a great name.
So here's one way I kind of look at him, right? And it's the same way, like, because like you can definitely see like that Samoa Joe influence, right? And one of the things with Samoa, like, I didn't watch any Ring of Honor, so like I've only seen Samoa Joe like full time from like NXT on. Like, I knew who he was and paid some attention to him, but like he plays such a good dickhead that, you know, in real life he's funny as fuck. You know what I mean? And I kind of see, like, because you've done some good like stuff with Curry that's like not like, hey, you know, here's a funny quip with him, but it's still like, it's funny, like
it's
him
serious,
like
it's handled seriously, but it's comedic. Yeah.
Like, yeah, serious.
That he's usually the straight guy to somebody else, kind of like, you know.
Yeah, or like when he's like security guarding around and stuff like that, you know, like
Monitor Carry,
DefSec. He's moving to. He's not.
Like following him around. It's like, what? Just camera following me around, like doing random things. It's completely unnecessary use of the budget right here.
Yeah, he's such a, like, it's such a cool thing to, you know, like I don't know, man, like that's such an important type of character any E-Fed needs to have, you know, is like, you can put him anywhere, you know, that's the thing. And Resin too, like Resin, man, like, it was just kind of crazy, just like thinking like, I'm just like envisioning like, what if Gigi Allen was a babyface? And, you know, like, and then I'm like, yeah, like, I would definitely get behind a Gigi Allen babyface character. Like,
I'm trying to picture that.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, or like, just like, you know, some like sketched out street punk babyface character is like, you know, like, it's so cool and like different, you know, because like, I don't know, like, and then everything, this whole feud with like Henry Keys mocking punk rock and stuff like that was like, as a fellow punk fan and everything, like, that was like right in my wheelhouse of things I'm entertained by too and everything. So yeah, this whole feud.
I just need to selfishly interject that at any moment Greg's about to be pulled over by the police, and I am so excited to be here for it. Greg's been circling his own house, his own development for the last 25 minutes. He's just doing a fucking slow loop, and somebody, some woman is looking out her window and is on the phone. I don't know who it is, officer, but I'm very, very nervous.
Dude, I live in the, like, Philly, the most lawless fucking city in the country, man. Like,
yeah, dude, you're gonna get pulled over for soliciting prostitution, and you're gonna blame me. I see that as a problem. Hey, you looking for a good time? No, I was in Def Chat. All right, come with us. Come with us.
E-Fed Live PD.
They would have looked the other way if you were soliciting. It's like, no, I was talking about my fake wrestler. It's like, all right, you need a weekend in jail.
Like an officer pulls me over and what are you doing on the phone? What are you doing on the phone? I have to like totally explain it.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing. A big city, do they have like the hands-free law? Like, are you gonna get in trouble for being on video chat?
I think like the only thing in Philly that you can't do while driving is like openly smoke crack. Anything like nothing like there's no law here at all.
It's a good rule.
It would be great to get pulled over and just be like, "Hey, officer, yeah, my driver's license. Yep, I am indeed 45 years old. And you know how it's lame enough to watch real pro wrestling at the age of 45? Let me tell you what I'm doing now, officer."
I'm talking to a handful of losers. You think you're having a rough night, sir? It's midnight out in the streets of Philly. You're putting your life at risk. I'm talking to a bunch of dorks, and now you are too, sir. You are too.
We're doing critical breakdowns of our fake wrestlers.
That's the whitest thing ever said.
Yeah.
It would be great to get pulled over.
Yeah. It's highly white of me. It is highly white of me.
Oh shit. Oh,
yeah,
God.
officer. I know I'm gonna get off with this. You know, I know I'm gonna totally get off with this. But let me explain to you what I'm doing, sir.
All right. Let's talk about night one as a whole. What's the highlight for you? Obviously, the main event for me stands out. But what are you excited about? Let me I'll switch it up. What storylines or characters are you most excited about going forward into Acts of Defiance coming out of this?
Corvo.
Can't argue. I'd love to. I
missed the question. I was looking at Pete's book. What?
They asked who should be fired.
Who do you mean? Oh, Joe.
Okay. All right. Good. No. Any other characters stand out? Like, what storylines are you most excited about? What do you? For me, it's where Victus goes from here. And I think somebody else pointed out earlier in this conversation about how now you've got the Honor Society kind of filling that vacuum. And kind of seeing how that dynamic eventually plays out, because it's going to have to play out in some fashion. And seeing Ned Reform take a bigger step up, I think to me, those are the stories that stand out the most to me. But there's a million, truthfully. What anybody else want to chime in?
Yeah, that's a big picture with LT stepping out, Henry Keys remaining victorious, still the champion, the forever champion. What's going to happen? What's going to happen there? Not only with him, but with Victus. And yeah, like again, if will the Honor Society are they going to clash? Are they going to or fill the vacuum? Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, with the the ending of night one, as far as the old sentiment of sending them home happy, night one and night two were like diametrically opposed, and levels of titles. Soher obviously is a step down, but it's a heralded fucking title. I mean, my favorite one in Defiance, but yeah.
Held by Codename Reaper.
Huh?
Heralded title held by Codename Reaper.
But more importantly, by Scott Douglas. Anyhow, no, I mean it's just interesting to see that number one and number two title held by such very different characters in very different situations.
You bring up another point though, Brian. Like you're right. Like had Resin won night one, night two feels different too. Like it would have been just this is a love fest. This would have been like, Jesus Christ, this is a festival of we got what we wanted. So in a weird way, I do think it's from a story perspective or how it's presented. It's so hard to tell so many stories in parallel and have them not clash with each other or
you guys understand now.
Yeah.
Had to lose for your sins.
Once again, Shirley outrights us by deciding not to write.
Well done, sir. Oh man, but it's true though. It would have felt. I think the two shows would have felt different had the baby faces, both of those huge triumphant moments happening back to back, maybe would have made the show feel different on a whole.
Well, and that's the trouble with wrestling, right? Like, if you build up to something and then you don't get it, everyone's mad. But if you always get what you want,
It's boring.
and you get bored and tired of it, and you turn it off.
Yep. No, I think the balance here has been really, really great. I think again, yeah. I think it's been good. Yeah, so I'm excited for the. I'm excited going forward. I'm interested to see how Oscar Burns rebounds, having tapped out for the first time, losing for the first time in a cage. I want to see how that goes.
In a world where all our characters just need something to talk about when it's time to talk, Corvo Alva has got the greatest thing to talk about.
He can't talk.
For at least a year or so. I mean,
yeah, he has no tongue. He can't speak. So yeah, he's got a lot of shit to talk, and he just can't do it. He's got to learn how to sign or something. Oh man, I am.
He's learned to say "oosu" or whatever.
Yeah. I have a plan on a way to sort of give Corvo a voice without having one that I don't think that has been done before necessarily, but I need to think it out more, and that might. I'm gonna try to make that start soon. What's that?
Kane, you know how at first he never said anything, then he just had the buzzer, then just I could just kind of grunt a little bit, and I grew my voice box back, you know.
Yeah. I think so far the only word he has uttered.
Fantasy wrestling, you know, that's why like we had Stalker come back out of a goo tube, and he's a monster, you know.
He was an Uber driver. He was a world champion, folks. Okay.
He went from Uber driver to Fist of Defiance.
Like in 3 weeks, okay? Like about 3 calendar weeks. Oh my god. No, you're not wrong.
I gotta interject here. So there are so many tiny little things I've done in Defiance that have turned into the worst things ever. That's one of them. So uncut after DEF CON, whichever one, when Eugene Dewey left, Scott Douglas showed just to like get into the rigmarole and get into the zeitgeist of the Fed. I did an uncut thing. I had Scott Douglas be dropped off by an Uber driver. Years later, Justin wants that to have been Stalker. And I was like, all right, whatever. So there's a throwaway segment. I couldn't find it, I don't think. It's there, though. It's somewhere where we play back into that.
He's amazing. I fucking love that guy. Oh, my God.
It pops up. So it's like it happened 5 years prior, but it pops back up, and then he just runs with it, and he's just an Uber driver for a while. Like, same with the bus. The bus was a Cabal chat joke that just got out of hand.
Oh my god, amazing! All right, well, any other parting words on Maximum Defiance 2023? Any thoughts, or what do you want to say to the 3 other people that might watch this?
I'm sorry, everybody.
You're sorry for making the dynamic of night 1 and night 2 better. Way to go.
That was not where I was going with that at all. But holy shit, that was funny. Oh god. Oh, I'm sorry, everybody. Oh my god, get the fuck out of here. Oh shit. Oh man. No. Anybody other than Strasma, do you want to comment on Maximum Defiance or any other parting words?
Go ahead, Greg.
Oh yeah, I just want to say I'm also really excited to see where Mantra David Fox and Arthur Pleasant go next.
Good point.
And
Good call.
it's not even so much Arthur Pleasant as much as like what MJ might have in mind for the next crazy shit he does. Because I'm so enthralled by that. And also, the other character I'm excited to see do fun things that I align with philosophically and personally is, of course, Frenchie. Like I want more of that in my life too.
Same.
So,
Same. Anybody else? Anything else? Are we fucking done? Can I stop?
I would like to end on a brief, since I have it out.
Are you gonna read a passage from Pete's book?
A brief passage from Pete's book.
Please. Okay. Let us pray. Let us pray.
All right. This is not. I flipped through it and this jumped out at me. This is page 306. If you want to turn in your hymnal. This is page 306. He wrote One Chance, The Legend of Valerian's Garden by Pete's book. 9, that's a character. 9 flipped his synthesizer on and started a simple lullaby chord as the lights dimmed to near nothing. Quote, "Hush, little baby, don't you cry. Mama's gonna hurt you until you die," sang Angel, softly as the crowd largely became silent. "Hush, little baby, don't make a sound. Mama's gonna drop you in the fucking ground." Mick and TJ looked at each other around Angel, who had dropped to her knees and was regarding the crowd with hateful glare. They looked down at her, then back at each other. As long as she was singing, she was fine. "Hush, little baby, why don't I care? Papa never wanted you to breathe free air." By Pete's book. A fun
do you
time
guys
for all.
ever see it on Conan O'Brien when they have the Walker Texas Ranger dial? Like he'd spin something and a random out of context clip from Walker Texas Ranger would pop up. Like the most one, the one being the one where Haley Joel Osment's on it. He's like, "Walker told me I have AIDS."
Oh, yeah.
No.
We should have that for like Pete's book.
I feel like
We're like-
I feel like now I need to buy Pete's book and every stream we do just by out of context, just choosing a random paragraph and just reading it and just walking away holding those words until the next time we meet.
To Greg's point, I would make it clear, I'm not making fun. Because I had it and I showed I was flipping through, those like lyric passages jumped out at me. I think this will be funny. And like, no jokes other than the fact that it's super out of context. Shout out to Pete. I would
Wow, man, you wrote a fucking book. That's fucking...
Yeah, right. Like I would not.
I haven't done shit.
I never read a book. I mean,
I ain't
good
done
for
shit.
him.
Yeah.
If we wouldn't be doing our jobs as like EFED people who grew up like I fucking knew Pete when we were like 15, and we wouldn't be doing our jobs if we weren't busting balls, you know?
Oh, for sure. All right, gentlemen. I'm gonna end the recording and then tell you all to go fuck yourselves. So first, the first part.